Hello and welcome back to the Crust. As we finished the last episode, and probably even into the last couple of episodes, I mentioned that I was starting to work on a little bit of a Sandbox based game. And so, and I also said that I would probably feature some of it because I figured I would have some things to show that I learned and progress that I'm able to make that we were kind of cut off on when, well, the Earth exploded. Spoiler alert! In the at the last episode in the last episode. So we're back again, and we're here on the surface of the moon on our much more compact base, I would say, than the previous one. Definitely in a much better position here than I was in that save. But I think it's because I learned a lot of things in playing that, and I hope that this can also serve as some tips for those of you who are playing the story mode or the sandbox mode, and things to do and not do, and things to avoid as you're going through. So hopefully this will serve as a little bit of a tip or a guide kind of situation, as well as anything else. So here on the surface we have, of course, our ECC and our FCC, our Expedition Control Center and Flight Control Center. I'm currently exporting some stuff out to the surface. One of the missions out on the surface right now, so they're bringing up some chips, although I think I used them all and they're going to make some more. Yeah, oops. So we're doing that. I do have most of the resources lined up here in this exterior bus, but again, the chips are all gone, so we can't have any of those right now. But I do have them all lined up here, and I'm continuing to add more, and I actually have a couple more that I'm pretty much ready to add, that I'm going to add via another conveyor elevator soon enough. But we also have, of course, solar. I have not started building large solar panels yet, even though they are quite a bit better than the smalls and the mediums. They also require things that I can't make yet, and I don't really want to buy, which is these control units, and I'm only just barely making modular terminals. So in some ways I'm a little bit further along than I was at the end of the last episode in the story mode, but also in some other ways I am behind where I was there, just because I'm doing things a little bit more efficiently and not having to redo things all the time. So we have that, we have this, and we have I know you can see here I'm also replacing the batteries rather, small with large, so that we have a bit more power stored up. Did I not connect the power poles there? Power lines? I did not. Oopsie. There we go. Okay, those will charge now. That's good. It's just coming into day, so that's good timing. I had just built those, to be fair. So there's that. Down below, I've done a little bit of organization. It's not as perfect as I was hoping it would be, but it's better than it was the last time. But again, I learned a few things along the way in the last series. First off, I did not upgrade anything, any buildings, any refineries, any miners, any crafters of any kind, until I was sure they were where I wanted them to be forever, quote unquote. And the reason I did not do that this time, did not upgrade them, is because I realized that I was spending money on the upgrades, because these cost, some amount of credits here. I can't remember what the first level of the multi-Regolith refineries cost, but the miners also, they cost 25,000 credits, which isn't a lot, especially when you have nearly 1 million, which I do now, but it's a lot when you don't have much and you're trying to balance everything out. And so you're actually better off to just build another one, since building another one doesn't cost anything credits-wise. It costs materials, of course, but it doesn't cost anything credits-wise. So you're kind of better off just building another one instead of upgrading the ones that are there. And for that matter, I don't really see the point in ever upgrading extractors. After thinking about it, these mines are not infinite. They are fixed. Many of them, although I haven't put any down in this way, many of them you can put a second miner on. I can put one down right there, actually, in fact, and I could get no, right there, it's got to go. I could get more out of this iron from 2 of these rather than upgrading one of them, which gives you an extra 50%, so half again. So you have to upgrade it twice in order to double it. So you're better off putting down 2 of these on a node, which probably about half the nodes can take at least 2, or can take 2. They can't ever take more than 2 from what I've ever seen. But you don't really gain anything from what I can tell, at least. You don't really gain that much from upgrading them. You might as well just build another one if you can. So I have not put a second one on any of these nodes, because I've been expanding rapidly. Because I started out this game with no titanium in like the initial scan range. When I put the scanner here at the base of the elevator, I had no titanium. The first place I found titanium was right in here someplace, which is just barely, maybe it was barely in the scanning range, but just right in here someplace is where I found my first titanium, I think it was, or over here, actually. It's right here is where it was. And then I have another one over here now, I think. Titanium, yes. And so titanium's a bit of a struggle at first. And this is something I hope they work on as they go, because the titanium, the resources you get to start the game with aren't very fixed. Like you don't necessarily have all the metals you need. So I was struggling to find titanium and getting to scan for it, because it must have been just barely at the edge of the range or something where it was here. And so I wasn't able to find it for a little while, and I dug up this way and couldn't find any, so then I dug back down this way and then I found some. But it would be nice if there was maybe at least one of each within X amount of radius to start the game, kind of like you would have with Factorio, where you have the base resources in a smallish patch, but right there at the start of the game in the starting area. So that would be something that I would hope that they would work toward. But I am, it's still very early access. It just came out, so we have time, and they have time to continue working on it. So I sped up and hurried into multi-regolith refineries so that I could squeeze out that, tiny bit of titanium out of the iron here, and the tiny bit of titanium out of iron there, and silicon here. Whatever the percentage is for each of them, 5, 7, and 5, and I didn't go all the way there. That's more recent. Over here, maybe also. Yeah, that's aluminum. Had another 7. So I was eking the titanium out as I could there, and that worked out all right, but it was still a little bit tough. And so I'm hoping that they can maybe balance that out a little bit better. So immediately then I started feeding these in. I do have an overflow set up here, so this one was going into the second one at first. Now I kind of have them all separate, but I didn't bother deleting the belt because it doesn't hurt. And we have 2 regular refineries at level 1, or 1 upgraded, singly upgraded, so they are processing 90 apiece. And actually they might be losing ground here a little bit. These were pretty empty at one point until I added a couple of extra extractors to the system. So they may be losing ground a little bit, which means that we may need to upgrade them again or add a third one finally. But I'm only processing 2 right now, which is not is enough, but it was not necessarily entirely enough. The other thing I've done, is many of you will probably appreciate, is I've stuck to a very fixed power grid of exactly 1 power pole length here, like this. And so every power pole, with the exception of ones that are placed in order to facilitate like an assembly like this, are all at that exact distance from each other, based around the starting point here on the elevator. I've expanded out quite a lot. I guess I can pan around a little bit. Actually, no, the best way to pan around is to go and find, if you have still set up someplace, one of these scanners, and hit the activate button, and then don't actually scan it, just meander around a bit here, and you can see quite far. You can see quite far. I'm actually digging this stuff out over here right now because there's 3 silicon there, and I'm really short on silicon. I have, I think, 2 silicon miners. Actually, you can't. You can only do this in range of that. But either way, this is maybe another good place. Over here, I had titanium and I think 2 silicons. Yeah, 2 silicons. This one's not done yet. I literally just placed this last bit here, and also that. They haven't come down here to build it yet. And speaking of collecting up stuff, I did have a bucket here collecting regolith and feeding onto this belt. But the problem that I was seeing is the bots were coming from way over here, collecting up this regolith, driving past both of these 2 buckets to go deliver it to the third one way over there. And these both have bot drone permissions on for drop-offs. So I don't know why they're doing that, why they're not going to the closest one. But since they're not going to the closest one, I deleted the one that I had over there just very, very, very recently, actually. Literally just before I started recording this. And I just let them deliver to these 2 here in the center, because they seem to be basing all their operations around the elevator anyway, in a concentric circle. So, but back to that. So we're kind of expanding out. We're endlessly expanding out. We have a whole bunch of, and I actually just snuck this aluminum, I think it is miner, in here as well. Yeah, aluminum, which I had to underground all my bus belts. We'll talk about the bus in a little bit here. And I'm just kind of digging out here, making space for the bus, and also looking for minerals. I was going to pass up that aluminum because I have a lot of aluminum, or I had a lot of aluminum stored up, but it's also a very good thing to quickly sell, so I'm doing that instead. So we have, I set up a bus system, of course, as you can see, and actually I need to deal with this very soon. Let's do this once again here. You, and you, and you. We need to keep dumping off the slag here. I think I might have the big storages now, so I should probably switch to those, but I just unlocked those, and I still don't have duralumin. Oh, no, wait, I do have duralumin being made. More on that later. But I haven't switched to the big ones yet. We'll get to those eventually, and then I'll just replace them in this area someplace probably, or put them off to the side someplace even. But that's slag. I'll have to feed this back in eventually so that it stays feeding the belt, but for right now it's fine. So, I started a bus of the 5 products coming out of the multi-Regolith refineries. The Regolith, of course, going in. And then I'm taking those into buckets to just store and buffer anything that's uneven, unbalanced for coming out of the multi-Regoliths. For a while, a couple of these were very full, when I only had 2 smelters of each kind going. Now that I have 4 going, and I don't think I've upgraded any of these yet even, because I was just like, you know what, I'll just add more. I gave myself plenty of room to add them on each side. This belt notwithstanding, I had to move it so I could get the 4th one in here. But there's that, and I only have one thing making bricks right now, smart concrete right now. My plan is when this aluminum dies to put another one in right there, and I actually even prepped for it. You can maybe see here a little bit, kind of. But right now it is it's taken up by that aluminum extractor. And then the materials come right back onto the bus once they've been smelted in the same lane as their raw components. So the bricks take the place of the slag, the titanium ingots take the place of the titanium ore, or titanium oxide rather, and so on and so forth, including what are these called again? Rare earths come in here, and then they come back out this way. A couple of these I had to do some sneakiness with, like the aluminum here comes, instead of it coming back this way, because it would fill in on this line, comes in and makes a little zigzaggy snake thing here, and so does the silicon. But if they come back in, the point is they come back in on the same line they were on as the oxide. Then those are going into their own storage buckets here too, as you can see. And I also added carbon fiber here along the way too, although this one doesn't have anything in it. I added that along the way here. Oh, there's a problem. Nobody connected this belt. Okay, now it's connected. Nobody, yeah. Who would have done that? And I have 3 of those running. Those haven't been running very long though. It took me a little while to get that up and running. So there's 3 of those running up there, and now we're feeding in the carbon fiber, and that goes all the way down to this sort of main bus area here. All of those belts make a turn. They also split off to go up the elevators, of course, to the storage area, but they all make a turn here and go into the various manufacturing. So we have rolling mills, we have components factories, we have microcircuits factories, hence the issue about the silicon I was talking about. This miner goes out this way and connects up over there. Then we have fuel coming in, which I never actually made in my other series because, I don't know, reasons. But ice and aluminum are pretty plentiful, so I am making those here, or that here now, and I have a decent amount of fuel, I think, yeah, 764 fuel. And then modular terminals, as I said, microcircuits are a problem right now still because of silicon. So once that becomes a little less of a problem, that'll be fine. And then I just recently also built these for making frames, microprocessors, duralumin, and nanotubes. And you can see some of those have already been completed, filled up because I'm not really using them. And so I haven't exported them out to the bus yet. The last thing I'm exporting out to the bus actually is the modular frames. And those are coming down here, and they're stopping here for right now. Actually, they're not even getting made. Why are those not getting made? They're getting made. Maybe they're still chugging along, or I'm using them. Nope, they're stuck right there. There they go. So one other thing that I had, and I recognized this in the other series, but in the beginning, when you have the conveyor belts, you get the underground conveyor 1s, and then you get the 2s, which increases the length of the underground conveyor connection by 4 cells, and then the next one by 6 cells, and the next one by 10 cells. So you eventually get long undergrounds, but in the beginning, you don't have long undergrounds. And I think there was a bug or something in the game at one point where you had basically the max length undergrounds from the very beginning. And so I had at some point this one. It was going from like here, or maybe even back here, all the way up to here without a problem. And when I rebuilt this to add these two side ones in here, I had to actually put intermediates in here because they wouldn't actually reach from here to there anymore. I had to add these intermediates in here in order for it to completely reach. So there was some bug because I was getting full length undergrounds at the very beginning of this, and I was a little weirded out by that, and that's why. But if you remember in my other game, I had points along the bus where I added an extra space, and I found out a good reason to do that here, and that's because the maximum space for a power pole is one tile too much to exactly span the 5 belts with a 1 space between. So I needed the extra space here for the power pole. So every 5 belts, I have an extra space, which also gives me the ability to do the up-down undergroundies like this, which kind of was a useful accident, I guess is what I would call that. So anyways, I'm making a lot of the things. I don't have the high-tech factory yet. I think I'm actually researching that now. Once we have that, we can maybe replace some of these builds with that or do something else with that. But for now, at least, this is running just fine. Or we'll find enough for this kind of early-ish stage still. And as I mentioned, I have a total of 12 products going up to the surface via these elevators. And I have one here plus the other 3. Yeah, the other 3, so I have enough to go up another one, and I may end up taking ice up to the surface as well, because there are a few tasks on the moon that need ice as well, and I have ice coming through right here, so adding that to a later elevator by just extending this belt down shouldn't be a problem either. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at, and so a lot of you will recognize a lot of this from, the previous episodes of the story playthrough, but kind of having the lack of pressure of the story plus the familiarity with the game generated by having played that story led me to a lot of this. So then back up on the surface here again, we have all these, and each one of these of course is filtered with the belt settings, so that they only allow that material to come out onto the thing. And I see that titanium's completely backed up here, which is interesting because actually, I might leave it alone like that, because I would like to shunt as much of this titanium as possible anyway, this way, so make sure we're making as many of these as possible. And I'm probably going to have to build around, there's only 2,500 left in the silicon here. Good thing I'm adding more silicon. So I'm going to I'll add a couple more of these eventually here, and I'll have to add, like I said, a lot more of these other things. Oh wait, that was that's the components. Add those here. I might end up with an issue here. I may have made these a little too close. If that's the case, I'll just add more of these down to the other end of the bus or something. Or we can eventually start building over here once everything is on the bus. But this gets me all of the products in the same area so that I can easily connect them up to my circular bus that's mostly feeding the FCC because of the ECC's lack of drone maintenance configuration settings here. Yeah, you can see we're sucking up all the microcircuits there. But I'm hoping that they give us the ability to turn this off so that I can just use the bus feed to feed into that completely. They did recently in an update add 3 more connectors on this end for the inputs. There was only 2 initially, but there's still only 2 outputs. And I don't really understand that. And then there's 6 inputs on this one, and there's only 4 outputs. But in terms of through whatever, I guess maybe you would use all 6 of these. You would do this one first, then they would output into those 4, then these would pick up on these 4, and then output those 2 back onto the bus or whatever, however you wanted to handle it. And I suppose I could do that. I could break this up. And even if I only used 2 the whole way through, I could have, 2 separate lines here, split it at some point and have 2 separate lines, half the products in each kind of thing, or maybe not even half in each, maybe one for the sort of base, half a dozen materials, and then one for the rest, given the quantities you see usually for those different things in the orders, in the contracts. So maybe do something like that. I'm not sure how I want to handle that going forward, but I could reasonably at least swap these 2 and get myself a little bit better of a layout. So I may end up taking them down and replacing them with a better layout eventually, especially because this is as far this way as I'm going to go. So turning this belt sooner by going into this rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise might be more suitable. So I may play that, especially because I've got this over here like that too. So it was a little bit of a you know, still a bit of a guessing game because well, I'm still not that familiar with the game, but it's definitely more progress than it was before. I must have dropped off a bunch of stuff here on the surface from the cargo haulers. Let's go. Actually, speaking of that, let's come out here. I am doing scanning now for the mobile drilling rig. I do have the mobile drilling rig rolling in right now. It's targeted to come in somewhere in the silicon area, the hotspot for silicon here. Where are you at? There we are. There's a nice hotspot for silicon right here where the base is, which is kind of nice. I think I have it centered right here to the brightest of the reds. We also have a decent amount of splotches of rare earth minerals here. No water ice though, but iron oxide, there's a little bit, and you can always, you know, kind of find that in places. Titanium, there's a couple of spots that are nearby here, and then aluminum's got a nice hotspot there, which is very close to the silicon hotspot, although like I said, I don't need as much aluminum right now as I am getting as it is, so that's kind of where I'm at. And so I think what we'll do for the rest of this episode is kind of just continue playing the game. I hope that this first half of this episode served as a as I mentioned at the beginning, like a little bit of a guide or how to or how not to in some cases, but so far, at least, we are kind of making some progress. I have a room here dedicated to CPUs, and I need some of those microcircuits, of course. Maybe I should just buy some. Maybe I should just drop some in. Let's see what they cost. Market, buy microcircuits. They're pretty high. Maybe I don't want to do that. What about robots? How bad are robots? 47. That's not a great price. It's not bad, but it's not a great price. But we could buy a couple more robots since I have money for this. We'll do that. And you know what? I'll just drop 10 of these. That's fine. I got to do a separate. Well, that's very expensive drop cost, though, for 10. Yeah, maybe I won't. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Unless I wanted something else, but I really don't need other stuff. I mean, I guess I don't have that much silicon. I actually have 1,600 silicon. Because it's all up here on the surface. And I recently did, I think I did. I hope I did. Change the priority here? I did. Okay, good. Wait, how did I do that? I done both. I'm gonna I put the priority, intended to put the priority on this so that no more silicon went up to the surface. But I apparently goofed that up because I need to try and keep it all down here to focus on making the microcircuits and something down here. Those, but they're not getting used that much. And these, I guess, not either. So really, it's just the microcircuits that I'm mostly worried about at this point. They are very slow, and that's because, well, we don't have people yet. And I'm working toward that, but I hadn't gotten it set up yet. So, but I am really close to getting people going. Now that I have food being grown, and at least enough to feed the some of the carbon fiber, we should be able to start, you know, bringing in people very soon. We just need a kitchen, build a kitchen, and build the medical bay and stuff, and then we can bring them in. I've also been looking through the contracts, trying to find things that I want. I've maintained a much higher level of science than I did in the. Why are you still not building? Oh, no, not that this time. This is just needs a robot to come and build it. This does too. Okay, let's give you some priority then, I guess. Power pole here. Two. Those are all fed. They just don't have any job assigned yet. Here you come now, I think. No, you're moving resources. Where are you going? Are you just grabbing one of these? Is that what you're doing? Yeah. Okay. So we're kind of really close to colonists, but not quite there yet. In the meantime, I'm just using a separate room for the data centers, and then I'm going to add the colonists on here because this is where the water is. It seems like largely in the game. There's one here. There's one back here. There's one over here someplace too, right there. And then there's the one over here that I have feeding into the bus right here. And there might even be one over here also somewhere nearby. As I'm, you know, of course, digging this out. There's another aluminum there. I thought there was another water node somewhere nearby over here, but maybe not. Either way, there's plenty of water, so we should be good for a while on that. Okay, so I don't know what all the bots are doing. Like I said, I keep adding more, but I don't have them there. But I've done a lot more on the science than I had been. I've been going through the contracts and looking for contracts that sell the kind of science that I want, like this one for example. Well, this is a lunar one, so I don't want to do it because I don't have an idle truck right now. But contracts that, you know, offer the kind of science that I want. What the heck are those? I don't even know how to make those yet. Energy cells, yeah. But this, you know, those guys aren't that good for that today. We could potentially do this one, but I don't really have all that many frames. I don't think so. I'm mostly wanting to sell the sort of tier 1 products. No. You could do this one that's aluminum, and we have plenty of aluminum. It's an earthbound one, give me 100 orange science. Yeah, that might be good, actually. Let's go back in there and accept, send 197. And I'll come up here and turn the aluminum on. Belt on, and I think this is still off from before. Bots, yeah, still off. So 197 means about 1650 or so. So I'll come right back up in a little bit and look for that to be about 1650. Actually, we could do another. Could look for another contract while we're waiting. Basm sells blue, but for frames, we could do this one. 166 titanium. Yeah, we could do that one. We have a lot of those. And we'll send those, and I can turn that on. Of course, it's just slightly too much. Let's do, oh, it's, yeah. There you go, and then 16 more. Yeah, that was kind of an ugh one. Let's see. Titanium rods. More green. I could use the green, I suppose. Yeah, I could use the green. Let's do that one too. Where was it? It was down here. 250 titanium rods. That's probably going to be what comes first then. The ships wise, because they seem to come in like a last in, first out kind of order. 1650 or so was what I said, I think. Game must be paused when you're in the screen. Yes, I know I have contracts due in 14 days. Good thing it's probably that one, and we'll probably get it done sooner. Let's go down a little faster. Not enough power. I don't get the not enough power messages. I have more than enough power. There we are. Let's turn that off. And I'm going to play a gamble here a little bit and turn on this one. And hope that that's the one that goes first. And that's basically full. We needed 250, so we'll drop down to about 17 or 18, maybe 1800 in the box. Did I turn that one also priority? No. Let's do priority here too. That it forces it to come this way until it backs up. There's 197, and there's still some on the belt, but that's okay. I'd rather there be a little bit extra than not enough. If you didn't see that earlier in the series, then you may be wondering, or you may not know how this works exactly, although I need to do... Apparently I didn't do priorities on some of these. I have a filter set up on this splitter to output the item that goes in the box at priority into the box whenever it passes here. And then I have the belts turned off on these outputs next to the box. These are all Mark II belts right now. They'll be upgraded at some point along the way. But for right now, they're Mark IIs just because that's where I was at when I built it. That one, I didn't do any of these. How did I manage to do that or not do that, as the case may be? Oopsie. So in the past, they would only been getting 50%, and the stuff would have circled around again. Now they're getting 100%, so it won't circle around anymore. And I was right. Good. We need to get down to 1800 or so, but it's coming in pretty fast. So it might not even have to go that far. Let's go like... But I'd rather go down further and then I have to start it up and have the gap again than the opposite. So I'm gonna let it run. But yeah, probably 50 loaded in. Maybe we don't have to go all the way down to 1800 then. But that's how that's what I'm using to gauge. You can see it's slowing down now because here comes the aluminum. That's what I'm using to gauge how much I need to load onto the belt. And that'll do. I'm gonna wait for that to flush out, and then we'll go and start this one too. Because that'll need to go for 166. Yeah. And so that's how I've been handling these. If this was closer, like I mentioned, and especially if this was first, this would be better. So I think I probably will do that. I just thought of it literally while I was kind of talking, introducing this setup. So 166. So we need to get down below 700. There you go. Yeah, there's a bunch on the belt still here. Oopsie. I did a little too much. That's fine. As long as it goes in there, it may or may not. Here comes the 16. I can take these, or collect these, I should say. Pretty close to getting there without doubling up the belts. That's kind of nice. That'll probably be good enough. We'll hope. Maybe you can see I had quite a bit of titanium left, and it just all gets sucked right back up into the box, assuming the box has room. But as long as I'm not letting it build up too much, then I'm okay, I think. And one of these belts actually made it to level 3 by accident. Oops. Yep. That's how it happens. Okay, that's taken off, and then there's going to be a gap, which I might need to release a little bit more. I forgot about that. In order to get this to work. Yeah, I'm probably going to release some more. Release the Kraken. 150. Yeah, there's probably not 150 there. Let's drop another... 75 or so. Get it down about 600. And then go with that. So I still have to manage this. I still have to come here and turn these on and off. But I think it's better this way than... should be good now. Because these are going in at the rate they were coming out. I still have to manage it. Yeah, 75 or 80. But I think it's at least a little bit better than the way I was doing it before. So at least I hope. And you know, you got to manage something. You got to control something. So you might as well do that, I guess. Might not quite be enough yet. I should release a bit more, just in case. We'll drop another 30 or so. And yeah, if this is closer, that'll be much better. So that's a good idea to move. But this is still an experiment. You know, I don't know this game that well. As I only have whatever Steam says I have in it now, 39 hours in it. So I'm still kind of far behind. Yeah, I was working on High Tech Factory. So I still have a lot of learning to do on it. But that's okay. That was the contract finishing. Let's come back up here and maybe just do MDR upgrade. We're getting the MDR going, so that might be good to put in the list. And that'll consume a bunch of sciences, especially blues. Turn this in, get that blue going. And urgent contract for this stuff. We could afford those. Those are pretty good. But it's here on the moon, so I'm going to have to say no. Although I do have a truck coming in. What do you got? Nothing? What are you coming in for? Are you supposed to be collecting another haul? I might have set him up with another haul contract. Yeah, there it is. 67 steel. So I could turn that on, but honestly, by the time I turn it on, the bots will be up here and beat me to it anyways, so I'm going to let them do their thing. It's only 67, it's not very much. And so I've been working up here on the surface. You know, you can see that one's going down here, it appears. No, somebody else is going down there, appears. Or you were coming back from there? You were going down there. Microcircuits. Yeah, that's why I was selling them. I shouldn't have done that. But I've been doing some of the points of interest here. I haven't done really any of the contracts per se, but I have been doing some of the points of interest to get the rewards, except for the ones that need people, obviously, and the ones that I don't have the stuff necessarily for yet. So there's still a lot of that to do, but you know that's just work to keep you busy, right? Right. Let's go see if this got built over here. Hopefully it did. It did not. Why? I don't understand why you're not coming down here to build this. That is weird. That has been there to be built since before I deleted this bucket here. So they came down here and did that. Why have they not come to build this yet? I might have to dismantle and rebuild them. That's weird. Drone's idle. Okay. If the drones are idle, but there's jobs to do. Maybe this is a bug or something. See if that triggered them. Now more of them went idle. Alright, let's delete this. Delete that. And we have to delete also this last segment of belt here. I will put up... Nope, I will just copy this. Copy this like so. It was way over there. Right there, I think. And then a power pole, of course, was in here. They built that one. I couldn't build the one here because it's right there underneath the miner. Sad. That, and then here they come with all the stuff. It's weird. See what happens. Although the stuff is all underneath it too, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that either. But maybe there's a bug someplace in the game. There's been a lot that they've been swatting, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's a bug in the game. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We have 48 frames. That's not bad. Alright, so I dealt with 3 different contracts, and I have 4 now because I added the extra, one of the extra ones. What do we have with science? I think I could use some more blues for sure. Take a look at this also because I kind of use this as a gauge as to what I have free, but blue is way ahead of orange and green, so I must have had blue much higher for a while there. It's kind of just maybe even amounts again. Oh, 400, but there's no way I don't have that much of either of those. That's insane, though. And I don't have 50 circuits. I could sell 3 of those. Doesn't give very much. Actually, it's not really worth it, because by the time you spend the 1,000 to ship them, yeah, it's not worth it. Okay. Don't really have the silicon to spare. I could spare the steel, though. That's pretty good. NERPA. But I really want some more blues. I do some more aluminum here. Yeah, let's do that one. 285 aluminum. Send. There you are. Turn the aluminum back on. Get that down to about 15 or a little under 1,500. Let's go back to NERPA and just take that other one that we saw that I liked. Is that this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, huge amount of steel. Hopefully I had that. I didn't actually look. I do. Just barely. 300. It's going to be a few loads. Maybe that wasn't the best and brightest idea either then. It's going to be a bunch of loads. But I'm using all the small standard cargo pods because the price on these is weird. And I mentioned this in my other parts of the series too, other parts of the game here. It says faster, but I really don't understand what the 20 days means because it's instantaneous, and they're like one leaves, the next one comes right back, comes right in. So they're not. It's not a gap between them. It doesn't take 20 more days for the pod to reach Earth. I don't really understand what the 20 days is. And then like the capacity doubles, but the price goes like double and a half or more, almost 3 times. And then the capacity is triple now, but the price is like 4 times. So I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little mystified by why you would, other than getting it out of here faster, why you would want to do that. So I'm not. What number did I rattle off? I forget. 1,500? I think so. Let's go fast. At least until we get notified by another urgent contract request, and we can take a look at that. Autosave. I reduced my autosave time to 10 minutes now. They're complaining about idleness. I wonder if those storage buckets are full. Oh, we can turn that off. And I'll just turn the seal on and just let it roll. And I'll come back later and check it. Yeah, Yeah, they're coming and going, so there must be some idleness that we need to deal with. Come over here and scan. There must be some fullness that we need to deal with. They're not that full. I don't know why they're setting idle then. Because there should be plenty of room to store Regolith, and there's plenty of Regolith to pick up. That's curious. Definitely plenty to pick up. Yeah, that finished. Good. Because there's this whole corner over here. And they're picking it up. Unless it's a job registration issue or something. That could be. But these are only like 3/4 full, so they should be not even that many jobs to register in there. I'm a little wondering now as to what this could be all about. And I could try putting this, additional buckets up again, but wow, that cleaned out fast. I might need a little bit more room here for this aluminum though. But that cleaned up fast, or that came down fast, I should say. Lots of silicon. I'm going to collect that up. Maybe this iron as well. I'm probably going to add another refiner here. I was spacing them out at the 1 power pole distance, but then that puts it right here in this mess. So I don't know if I want to do that or not here. I could go to the next one, but then I got this line in the way. I don't know what I'm going to do now. But I could. This is a nice blend. And Calendar and I were talking about this, and if you haven't checked his series out, check his series out too, because he's playing this as well in story mode. The way that the mixture works here, the way that the percentages work, if they're doing it right, as each chunk comes in, they're recalculating these percentages to give you an idea of what it is. But if you have a steady feed of, let's say, iron rich coming into a bucket that was largely aluminum before, then it's going to take a while for that iron to percentage to start going up, just because you have such a small amount coming into a very full bucket already. Ooh, wow, they're busy over there today. Must be harvest day. So don't but we were also talking about, would it make more sense to have all the iron rich ones coming into one refinery making iron, and have all the titanium rich ones coming into one refinery making titanium, and so on and so forth? And I'm not sure that makes any sense from like my perspective, my knowledge, if they're calculating it right. The advantage would be that maybe you could have one dedicated to the regolith that you're picking up on the ground all over the place, which would be very high slag content and very low of everything else content. But I'm not sure that that's any benefit, that much benefit either. So I'm not sure. It may be something for someone to do some theory crafting on and some experimenting and testing on, but I don't know that I'm that person necessarily. But either way, we have these are nearly full, so I think I'm going to have to add another refinery here. And eventually, when Pokey gets over here, which it takes a long time for this thing to drive around, and so maybe what I should have done was sent the rover over here where it is, and see if there's something that's useful to scan over there, and just have the truck running back and forth from where that was, instead of driving it all the way down here. I guess I should have thought about that earlier. Yeah, I don't know why they're idle. But I guess I could work on the next refinery. So I don't know what I'm going to do exactly with the refinery situation here. I may adjust where they're positioned so that I can, get out of this more what I want to get out of it, space-wise. I just haven't really gotten that far yet. Oh, that one's off as well because of where that miner is. So I'm going to continue playing this off camera, of course, largely, but we'll come back again in future episodes to kind of show you some progress. Next time, I hope I'll have some colonists up and working over here, and then they'll be able to come over here and work on our bus line of all of our buildings, making all the things, and making them a lot more efficient operationally than they have been, because everything from this point onward all needs colonists, so to work more efficiently. So hopefully I'll have those going, and we can try to get more things going. But right now, it's kind of just a little bit of an adaptation from what you might have seen if you watched my other series. And then we'll kind of just keep going from there. Yeah, these are getting fuller. Okay, so that's the problem right now. We could do, maybe upgrade these. Let's upgrade this one. And then that means you're taking in 120, and these belts are, how fast? That's not belts, there we are. This is a 2, which is 150. So yeah, we'll see if that one helps. And then I'll probably add a third one though, because as soon as we start doing some surface mining, I'm going to want to bring in those resources and dump them down there, and we'll have to, you know, sort through them and straighten them out a little bit. Did this finish? It's still going. Okay. But I'm going to leave this here for now, and in the next episode, we will continue working toward, I'll show you off where I've continued to work toward, which is colonists and further refining of resources. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.